Happy 2025. I hope you had a good year. The point of this video is just to go over everything I've done in 2024, as well as what were my accomplishments or my goals, as well as what I've learned. And on top of that, this video is going to be a reference point for next year's video that I'm going to drop in 2026 about everything I've done in 2025 in a pretty similar format. And besides all that, let's just get into it. So the first thing I did in 2024, which was a massive accomplishment, was I got my real estate license. That was a pretty big accomplishment. I was 18 at the time, and I just want to say it was a very tedious journey. There was a lot of material to cover. It took a while for me to pass. It took a while for me to even take the test because I spent so much time studying. And I actually dropped my first video on this account based off that. And that was around the time I was studying or around the time I passed it. I don't really recall. And the other huge accomplishment I did was I got my 215 life and variable license, my life insurance license. And that was a lot easier than getting my real estate license. I'm just gonna say that. It was way less work, way less tedious, and the material was way more easy to comprehend. And another one of my accomplishments was I graduated high school. Now this may not seem like a huge accomplishment because on average a lot of people graduate high school, but I kind of see it as an accomplishment because it's kind of like that step from going, not a child, but it's like going from, like, you're going from a teenager to an adult. Like, obviously that's the point of graduation, is that you're going from a teenager to adult. But like the mind shift is very different. It's very different because it's like you're going from high school to where you have little to no responsibilities to now you're in college and you're responsible for yourself. You're responsible for all these things, and it's like you have to lock in, essentially, pretty much. You just have to lock in because it's like in high school there's some things you could get away with where like it won't affect you, like academic, do stuff that are not all right, but the outcome the same, like no matter what you graduate. Whereas in college it's like if you do something like that, it may not affect you in that moment, but it's like it's going to affect you later on when you get a job in that major. So it's like in accounting, because that's my major. My major is in accounting, and there were some people who were doing things that they probably shouldn't be doing. And it's like, yeah, you passed the class, but if somebody asks you a question later down the line of, hey, how do you credit this? How do you debit this? How does this work? Then they're not gonna know the answer, and they're gonna be cooked because they didn't take the time to actually learn the material. And another thing with that is like, as you were growing up, this is kind of like sidetracked, but it doesn't matter. So as you're growing up, like you're in elementary school, you're like, hey, I want to do this when I'm older. You hit middle, you're like, you know what, I want to do this. And then you're at high school and then you start talking about, hey, once I graduate, this is what I want to do. And then it's like, after you graduate, you're like, you know what, I have a couple months till that happens. And then those couple months go by, oh, you know what, I give myself one more month and then I'm going to lock in and do what I want to do. And then that next month comes and you're like, you know what, I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to start whatever. I'm going to start my business. I'm going to start learning how to code. I'm going to start doing whatever it is they say they're going to do. In my case, it was door knocking, because once I graduated, I was like, you know what, I'm going to get my real estate license, and I did. And then I was like, I'm going to go door knocking. And I was like, next month I'm going to go door knocking. Then later on that month, tomorrow I'm going to go door knocking. Then the next day I didn't go door knocking. And that night I actually sat in my room. I was like, okay, why have I not done this? Like, I was kind of disappointed, and I was like, what am I doing? I'm not doing this right. Like, I need to do what I have to do. Like, I have responsibilities now. I have to start doing my own thing, and my future's based off whatever I start doing now. And so I wrote down what it is I want to do, which is door knocking, and then I wrote down the reasons why I wasn't door knocking. And what I found out was the thing that was deterring me from door knocking was I was afraid to get the door slammed in my face. And it's kind of like this imaginary world where I was like, I'm gonna go door knocking, everybody's gonna slam the door in my face, everybody's gonna hate me, whatever. Somebody's gonna call the cops on me for solicitation, blah, blah, blah. Like, it was a whole thing. And then I sat back and realized, like, I'm kind of going crazy over nothing. Like, I'm just gonna try and just see what happens. So then the next day I ended up going door knocking. I knocked on like 50 doors, probably got one door slammed in my face, which that's a pretty good ratio. And realistically, everybody were super friendly and cool. They were just like, hey, I'll take your card. If anything, I'll call you. Or they were just like, no, I'm not interested. Like, have a good day. I was like, all right, have a good day. And something else that kind of ties into this is I used to do this a lot in 2024. I used to like live in an imaginary world in a sense. And not the way you're thinking. It's more like I was thinking like, okay, if I go door knock 20 houses and I get 19 slammed in my face, but one person wants to sell their house. And then I sell that one person's house, and I'm like, you know what? With that commission, I'm gonna invest in getting cars. I'm gonna invest in marketing. I'm gonna invest in this. I'm gonna invest in that. And just off that, let's say I get 200 clients, and at least 10 of them want to sell their homes. Okay, I'm gonna get X amount of commission. With that commission, I'm gonna go buy a house and then rent it out. And with that money coming in, I'm gonna end up getting another one, do the same thing. And eventually I'm gonna go buy a car, do this. And then like within that thought process, I get lost and I'm like, okay, now I'm a millionaire, now what? And then I get into like a whole philosophical thing with myself, like what would I do if I had so much money? I wouldn't know what I would do. I only have like ideas of why would it matter, about a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't matter. And then 5 minutes passes and I'm like, okay, I thought of all this, but nothing's changed. I'm still in the same place I was 5 minutes ago. And that's like when I realized I need to stop thinking so much and actually start taking steps towards what it is I want to do. It was kind of the same thing with YouTube. I said I was gonna start YouTube in like 2023 and I never did it. I was like, I'll start whenever I have everything. And then 2024, I was like, you know what, whatever, I'm just gonna start it. And then I started it. But the point of this is it just goes to show like, you also have to take action when you say you're gonna do stuff. Don't just like say you're gonna do stuff and never do it. Because like thinking and talking about it and waiting for the perfect moment, it's kind of useless because like then you're just there thinking all the time and not really taking action while time is passing and you're getting older and all that stuff and life's not changing. Yeah, so just go off that. Just you always have to take action. Every journey starts with one step, and every day I'm trying to take a step, no matter what it is, whether it's learning more about the market, learning more about policies, going out and meeting people, which actually in 2025, I've gone to a couple networking events, I've gotten a listing. Now the listing may not have occurred how I would have wanted it to. The situation wasn't the best situation, but I mean, still counts. Yeah. And I've just been going to networking events, meeting new people, and now I'm starting to work with a property manager. Like, they're working with our team, we're working with their team, and we have a little thing going on right now. Hopefully that goes well. Hopefully you'll hear more about it in the 2026 video. But another main thing that I learned, and this actually played a huge part in like the shift in mindset. It was like, there was a video by Jordan Peterson. He was talking about how like on earth we do have heaven and hell, and it's like when you think about what do you want to do in the future, and it's like you think about like the absolute best stuff, it's like you're in heaven. But then it's like if you don't take the steps towards it and you end up in a life of misery, then like that's kind of your hell. Now whether hell is eternal or not, that's completely up to the person, like whether they believe it is or if they isn't, or what happens after you die, whatever, that's up to the individual person. But on earth it's like if you have a goal, it fails, and you just give up, and you dig yourself a hole, you bother not to learn, you bother not to do any of that, then you end up in your own hell essentially, because you're just so malicious and you're so angry at yourself for the fact that you didn't actually take the steps needed to what it is you were going to do. And imagine if you did take those steps, you'd end up being in your own heaven in a sense. You'd end up being in the best spot that you would want to be. You would end up being so much happier and actually doing the things that you want to do. And that video really touched me. It really resonated with me because it's like, wow, I really have to start taking responsibility for what I'm doing, and I have to start taking charge of my life and taking everything and doing it the way that I want to do it, which in the right way, not in the wrong way. I don't want to do things the wrong way because then things get wasted, whatever. And I'm happy I'm learning this lesson now at 19 and not when I'm like 25, 26, because if I was like 25, 26, it'd be a different scenario than me learning it at 19. So you're your own master. You're able to dictate what goes on in your life. Nobody's gonna make the changes for you. You're the only person who can make the changes. And I always try to learn. Like I didn't realize how much I enjoyed learning until like I actually sat down and took the time to learn. And I enjoy learning more for myself than the forced learning aspects. So like in school is like you have to learn, you don't learn, you fail, and there's precautions, you get in trouble for that. Whereas now I'm learning about stuff I love, like the real estate market. I love properties, I love learning how the market works, what it's like to list a property, what it's like to find buyers, what it's like to deal with offers, and having to write like the actual selling of a property, which I'm also right now in the middle of making a step-by-step video on selling a home, all the way starting from before you finding a client to all the way to actually selling the home. It's gonna be like a four different videos going on each step. And besides that, I'm just excited for 2025. I have a list of goals here. I have a list of goals here in my notebook that's, as the year goes by, I'm gonna make videos on each goal. Every time I hit one, I'll make a new video. And I mean, I would just share one of the goals right now. One of them is just to like grow my YouTube channel. I mean, I'm at like probably 10 subscribers now, which shout out to those who watch. But hopefully by the end of this year, I have a pretty solid amount. And that's like all I'm gonna share for now. You have to stay tuned for more videos to see what else goes on. And it's like to add on to the learning, I had a list of books that I wanted to read, and I ended up reading a pretty good amount of them. I ended up reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Tax-Free Wealth, How to Build Your Own Rental Property Empire, Surrounded by Idiots, and Millionaire Mindset. These were all pretty good books. I enjoyed them. I'm rereading How to Build a Rental Property Empire because that book has a lot of information, and it's good for me to keep reading it every year. That way I can understand it more and more, and so on, to enjoy every day that you're taking a step forward in what you're doing, because again, one step leads to a whole journey. So it's like, yeah, like in my case, let's say I'm suffering every day, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm working hard, and it means for me it's not really suffering, I enjoy it, but I'm learning every day, whatever. And it's like I enjoy every single day, because by the end of the day I'm gonna end up looking back on this and be like, wow, I really did all this stuff, like it's amazing I did all this. And I just remember enjoying every single moment of it, whereas somebody else, their mindset is, okay, I'm gonna start doing this now, and then in 5 years I'm gonna get this car, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get this. And it's like they're dreading the process, and then once they get the material things, they realize like, hey, it wasn't about the material things the whole time, it was about the journey of me getting from there to owning these things. So it's like, make sure you just enjoy every single day, and that you don't take any day for granted, and you take a day off one day and just like look around you to actually take in everything that's going on, because once time passes, you can't get it back. It's like the one thing we can't get back is time. So just make sure you take some time, look around every once in a while, and just like appreciate everything that's going on around you, because chances are you're not going to experience something like that again. And it's not about the destination, it's about the journey, as a lot of people say, and I find that to be very true. Once you want something for so long, and then like you finally get it, it's like, okay, I have this, but it's not as good as I thought it was going to be. Or you enjoy it for like a month or 2 months, and after that you're like, damn, like that's not really the feeling that I wanted. I thought like my life would be fulfilled once I have that thing. And then you realize like it was a process more that you enjoyed than the actual thing. And that's pretty interesting take on it. And yeah, well, that's about it. Thank you for watching the video. I'm probably gonna make like more realtor videos on finding clients, all the way up to actually listing a home or selling a home, or listing a property and selling the property. So just stay tuned for that. I'm probably gonna create like 4 different videos based on it. But yeah, back to that, no matter what, you have to suffer. So just pick your suffering, don't let life pick it for you, or else it's gonna be very difficult. Hope you have a great year. I hope you're able to actually learn something from this.